One of the classic genres for movies is the buddy film. Guys just like them. It can be a couple of guys or a group of guys doing something, but we like watching that. And the film is really about a group of guys who do something together, whatever it happens to be. It could be an action movie. It could be an adventure where they're going to rescue somebody. It could be a film where they're going to perform the greatest heist of all time. You know, we like that. They can be comedies, guys who are going away for a weekend and all kinds of mishaps happen. And we like these movies because we like the relationship that are in them. Guys connect with these films because guys connect with their need for friends. We really do. Men need friends, and those friends need to be other men. It's just the truth. We like that. Male friendship has been a part of literature, has been a part of lore throughout history. It's been a big part of ancient classical literature and things like that. So what we want to do is encourage that. You see, today with the emphasis that so many people have put on homosexual relationships, we kind of gotten away from pushing men to have good friends, to have strong male friends. And some people have even tried to look at great male friendships in the past and say, oh, that was a homosexual relationship, which is ridiculous. Men throughout history have sought close friends. We don't need to lose that today. In fact, we should fight for it. And we're going to find out how on today's show. So let's jump in.
Welcome to the Confident Man Podcast, empowering men with the confidence they need to live their adventure. Now, here is your host, David Maxwell.
Hey guys, welcome to the Confident Man Podcast. I'm so glad that you joined me here today. We are continuing our series. This is March Man Month. And what we're doing during the month of March is focusing on what it means to be a man. So we took some of our most popular episodes, took those themes, and we've created brand new episodes to pour into you. So really, you could go through the month of March, listen to all the episodes, and I promise you, it'll help you be a better man in so many ways. Well, today we're talking about a man's need for friends. And when I think about friendship, I think of some of the classic friendships we've seen through literature, through movies. You know, one of the friendships that a lot of people don't give a lot of credit to. In Lord of the Rings, people think of Sam and Frodo, and they were great friends, but they weren't necessarily friends before. They became friends on the journey, but Sam was Frodo's gardener. I mean, he worked for him. So it was a little different in that respect. But Merry and Pippin, they were friends. And the neat thing about their friendship is they were friends before the story. Their friendship lasted through the story, and they ended up saving each other, remaining friends after the story. So it's really interesting to see that friendship model go through the whole thing because they accepted each other for who they were. They knew each other's faults. They knew each other's strong qualities, and they still remained friends throughout it. So it's a really neat friendship that we can look at. And then another one I think of is Jonathan and David in the Bible. They were incredible friends, probably one of the strongest friendships in the Bible. The Bible really talks about how Jonathan and David really looked after each other. They cared for each other. They weren't afraid to show emotion for how much they cared for each other. It's a very, very strong friendship. And that's something we need today. Throughout history, we've seen the bonds of strong male friendship, and we need that. We need that in our society today. More and more men are feeling lonely. Loneliness is really becoming an epidemic among men. And the pandemic really only increased that feeling. More and more men started feeling lonely, even though we were more connected in many ways. We have a hyper-connected society. We're connected in so many ways. You can talk to people all around the world. But friendships, real close friendships, have suffered. Because a virtual friendship is fine, but for many guys, it's replaced reality. The only time they get together with other guys is when they're doing something online. Now, that's not a bad thing if you and a friend live far apart. It's a good way to connect. But you still need those friends that are close. We all have that need for friends who are close, who are right there. Now, people say, well, what about men and women being best friends? It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. They can be friends, but they really can't be super close friends because usually in the end, one is going to end up liking the other. Either the guy is going to like the girl or the girl is going to like the guy. We joke about it, but they make movies about it because it's true. You just can't do that. Men need men who are friends. Women need women who are friends. It's not sexist. It's just reality. Men and women are different. Men connect with men in different ways. Women connect with women in different ways. And they need that friendship. In fact, marriages, to have a healthy marriage, men need to still have friends who are other men. And the women need women who are other friends. So it's something that makes for a healthier marriage when they both have friends of the same sex. So we're going to talk about a man's need for friends today, good male friendship. We're going to talk about the friendship history of men. We're going to talk about the good and bad of friendships, because there is both sides. And we're going to talk about some friendship tips to help you have better friends. All right, guys, let's talk about the friendship history of men. Because the truth is, there's always been something powerful about men connecting over similar interests or activities. And we really see it throughout history. You look at any period in history, different societies, different ways, and a lot of the times the men are connecting together. The men are going out and doing things together. You see things like secret societies. You know, you had the Knights Templar, the Masons, all of those. And those are really good for stories. You know, a lot of people, when they need a bad guy, let's come up with the Templar Knights, you know, and let's come up with one of these secret societies. They'll be the bad guys in our movie. Why? Because they're known throughout history. A bunch of men getting together. You know, a lot of the founding fathers, they said, were Masons, were part of the secret society. So it's something that we just kind of know. You know, monks got together. They wanted to do the same thing. They wanted to get closer to God or whatever their reasons were. Monks got together. They didn't often go off live by themselves in caves. They lived together in community. We see this in how people fought in battles. No matter what society you're in, the men would fight together. They fight in platoons. They would fight in units because they knew they could fight better together. And within those units, very strong friendships happen. In fact, I've read some books from World War II, and some of the men who survived talked about their friendships with their buddies. You know, they fought together for maybe a year or two, but they remained lifelong friends because of it, because they felt closer to those men than anyone else in their life. And men need that. Men yearn for that. That's why you see the coffee shop culture in some places, or the pub culture, or the bar culture. A lot of times it's men just getting together and talking, either over coffee, over a pint, or whatever. There's just something about it. You know, I was just recently in Korea, and the coffee shop culture there is huge. They get together all the time to have coffee, and a lot of times I saw groups of men sitting and talking. I even saw groups of men walking together, and you see that in the gym. You see guys who are doing a do-it-yourself project. What do? They include other guys on it. They do it together. Men have felt this need for friendship as long as we've been on earth. And there's something in it that you have to understand. We were created to be friends with other men. We were created to be in that friendship, and there's power in that friendship. So you don't want to push it away. You don't want to say, well, I don't need that today, or all my friends are online. The truth is, you need friendships. I need friendships. Men need each other. You know, and people say, well, why do I need male friendships? Well, because other guys get you, because they're guys too. You know, women are different from men. They think different. So we don't understand their friendships. They don't understand our friendships. They're just different. Men connect by doing stuff together. When men get together, they want to do something. They're going to smoke meat. They're going to shoot guns. You know, they're going to go out and they're going to work out, or they're just going to eat, or they're going to drink, or they're going to play pool. They're going to do something, because that's how men connect. We connect with that side to side, doing something together, fishing, whatever. Women connect just by being together. You know, they'll sit across from each other and just talk. for a long time. And their conversation is the key for them. For men, it's the doing something is the key. Conversation happens from that, but it's the doing something together that connects them. That's just the way we're wired. Now you say, is every man like that? Is every woman like that? Well, no, that's the majority, okay? But we want to understand the key is we need friends. As men, we need friends. We want to recognize this reality. We need other people. We're better together, not on our own. There's no such thing as a lone wolf. You don't want to be that lone wolf guy. It just doesn't work. Men do better when they're with each other. Because when we're by ourselves, we can get weird. It just is. A guy who stays home playing online games, watching porn, and that's all he does, he's going to destroy his life. He's not going to have people who speak into it. What do they say about serial killers? Watch any show about serial killers, and almost all the time you'll hear, well, they were kind of a loner. Almost every time the serial killer was a loner. Why? Because men get weird alone. We don't need to be alone. Now, I'm not saying we don't have time alone. Some people are more introverted, some people are more extroverted. That's a personality trait. But no matter who you are, you need friends. Men need friends. Men throughout history have recognized that. We should do the same today. We should recognize our need of friendship. And we shouldn't let society shame us and say, well, you shouldn't have strong male friends. Or if you are, you're gay. Well, that's just stupid. We need male friendships. And we don't need society telling us not to do it. We also don't need society making us so busy that we don't have time for friends. That's what's happening to a lot of guys today. They're doing all of these things and they're losing their friendships. And they wonder why they feel lonely. Because the truth is, strong male friendships make us better men. All right, the second thing we want to talk about is the good and bad of friendships. Friendships have positive sides and negative sides, just like everything in life. Krispy Kreme hot donuts have a positive side. You want to eat them, they taste great. But they also have a negative side. You can eat a whole dozen by yourself. So there's a positive and a negative. Friendships are the same way. Friendships can be good and they can be bad. There's good sides and bad sides to it. So what we want to do is recognize both sides. We want to be clear about the type of friendships we're in and the ones we need. Because sometimes we say, well, I have friends, but are they good friends or are they bad friends? And that's what we want to figure out. And the thing we want to talk about first is how friendships can help you. The Bible calls one thing iron sharpening iron. It's a common biblical phrase from Proverbs. It's about friendships. It talks about how good friends can motivate you to be better. And I think we've all had friends like that. There's friends who, when you get around them, you're like, I just want to be better. This friend works out. I want to work out more. This friend does this. For me, back in high school, my senior year, I started really hanging out with some friends of mine a lot more. We studied together. We did all this stuff together. And these guys were very, very smart. Ken and Bob were very smart. One was the salutatorian. One made the highest ACT in the school. They were smart. Just being around them, my grades went up my senior year, which most seniors don't do that. They kind of get senioritis. But I started hanging around them and we started studying together and just hanging out. And hey, it was great. It was also good because we studied at Bob's house and his mom could use a fry daddy like nobody's business. She made us homemade French fries. She made corn dogs. And for a guy who's in high school senior, that was wonderful. So that was a good thing too. Now, I may have eaten too much. That was the bad side of it, but it was a good time. But we've all had friends like that. The friends who really push us. The friends who just being around them makes us want to be better. And that's a good side of friendship. And sometimes we want to connect with those people and they just make us better men. And that's the men you seek to be around. Now, this isn't necessarily networking. Understand that networking is you pursuing a friendship with an ulterior motive. You want to promote your business. You want to promote yourself. You're not really seeking a friend. You're seeking a connection. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you need to recognize it for what it is. If all you have is network connections, you're lacking when it comes to friends. You need friendships. Friendships for the sake of friendships. Now, it can be mentoring relationships. Those are good, but they're not quite the same as friendships because that's a mentor. That's someone who's speaking into your life. So it's not really a peer-to-peer friendship. And that's what you want to make sure you have in your life. You want to have the mentors. You want to have the people you're mentoring, but you also want to have those peers, those side-to-side friends who are with you. Now, there's a good side to friendship. There's also a bad side, and we need to look at that. Friendships can hurt you. They really can. For people who maybe want to be included in a group, and so they change who they are to fit into that group. That's a negative side of friendship. And we see that, when we're young, peer pressure is the classic example. Middle school, high school, you have that friend who you and them were buddies. And then after the summer, they come back, they started hanging around the cool group or the whatever group, and they started changing who they were. And that still happens today. There are men who want to be accepted by this group or that group. So they begin to change who they are in a negative way. They're not being true to themselves. They start playing a part. And people do it in the business world, in the entertainment world, and in all the world. People will change who they are to be accepted by the group. And sometimes they will abandon their other friends because those friends don't help them. And that's a need-based friendship. What that is someone wants to be accepted, so they'll do whatever they have to do to be accepted by that group. That's not true friendship. That's a negative side of friendship because it causes people to do a lot of bad things to be accepted by the group. The group says you have to do this, so they do that. Now, some men, they want to create a group of people around them so they can feel good about themselves. The guy who's got a bunch of followers, and they're not really friends, they're groupies. They think the guy's the cool guy, so they all want to hang out with him. But both sides are missing out because the guy who's kind of the head of the group doesn't really have any friends. And the guys who are in the group, they're just followers. They're just lackeys. I think of someone like Biff and his crew on Back to the Future. Biff didn't know how to have a friend, actually. But he had these guys who were around him, and they just kind of, go Biff, go Biff. And they were just into Biff because they thought being around Biff made them cool. And we still see men who do that today. They don't necessarily hang with someone like Biff, but some guys do. And with the good and bad side of friendship, sometimes people worry. They say, well, how do I know what a good friendship is? What makes up a good friendship? Well, there's a few key things that you want to look for in friendships. And when both sides have these in a friendship, it's going to help you know it's a good friendship. The first one is authenticity. You want to be authentic. Good friendships are built on authenticity. You don't have to play a part. You don't have to be someone you're not. If you have to put on a mask when you're around a group of people, they're not your friends. Your friends who are authentic know you. And they like you the way you are. Now, can you still grow and change within that friendship? Yes. Can you encourage each other to be better men? Yes. But you need to be authentic. You need to be your real self with your friends. And the great thing is when friends can get together and encourage each other. They help each other. They push each other. Because when you're authentic, you can be real with each other and you can be honest with each other. So authenticity is a big key. It doesn't mean you don't change in the friendship. You do. But everybody's changing because everybody's being authentic with each other and encouraging each other and helping each other and those things. That's a big part of a good friendship. The other one that's a good part is honesty. Good friends are real. Good friends are honest. They don't manipulate. They don't pretend. They've gotten to a depth of friendship where they're very open about who they are. They tell it like it is. Even if it's hard truth, they tell about themselves and they'll even tell you. If you have a friend who comes up to you and says, hey, I don't think she's very good for you. He's being honest. You may not like it. It may hurt. But you need to understand that your friend is being honest with you because he sees something. Too many men have ignored their friends when their friend said, don't marry her. Don't be around her. She's trouble. You don't understand. You don't understand. No, those guys were honest. You may have a friend who tells you, hey, bud, you're working too much. You're never home. I don't think that's good. Or they tell you, hey, you're really good at giving excuses but not taking responsibility. You see, all those things, we hear that and it hurts. But a good friend is willing to hurt you to make you better. That's honesty. And if you don't have anyone in your life who's willing to do that, you may not have a good friend. You may have followers, you may have lackeys, you may have people you pay to be your friend, but that's not a good friend. You need someone who's willing to say, hey, I don't think that's good, and speak truth to you. Now, they should do it in love. They shouldn't do it bitterly or angry. But honesty and friendship can help because everybody knows they're getting the real deal. They know that this person cares about me, so what they're speaking openly and honestly. Now, you may still disagree, and you can talk through that because you have an authentic friendship. And just having that brings humility. When you know people can call you out, there's a humility to that. And you need that because sometimes we get full of ourselves, and we need those friends to say, hey, I remember when. And that's good for us. That's a really good friendship to have, and you need those people in your life. The other one is it's just encouragement. When someone is able to give life to you and you're able to give life to them and just encourage them for the sake of encouragement, that's a good friendship. You want to speak life into each other. You don't want to encourage each other to do destructive things. And that's what a lot of friendships are today. You know, it's a bunch of guys getting together and encouraging each other to drink more and more and more to the point of some really devastating consequences. That's not a good friendship. Or you go on a trip with a bunch of buddies and they're encouraging you to commit adultery. That's not encouragement. That's not life-giving. They're trying to destroy your life. Or those work friends who encourage you to lie on reports or maybe embezzle or do things like that. They're not friends. Because they're not giving life to you. They're actually trying to help you destroy yourself. Real friends want the best for you. You should want the best for them. They should want the best for you. That's a good friendship. Now, some of the bad characteristics. You know, friendships that are based on lies and being fake. In the business entertainment industry, you know, a lot of people will be friends to the famous people because they want to be close to them. But they're not being real. They just want to climb a ladder. They just want to use those people. So you want to be careful that you're not one of those and that you're not surrounding yourself with people who will do and say anything just to be close to you. That's not a good place to be. You don't want to be fake to be friends. You don't want to have fake people around you. So you want to be careful that the friendship is not based on lies and based on being fake. A lot of people get into friendships today based on those things. And you don't want a friendship that pushes you to negative choices. We just talked about that earlier. But if you get around a group of friends and afterwards you always feel a sense of regret, that's not a good friendship. It's not helping you. It's a problem. If every time you hang out with a group of people, the next day you have regret, then those friendships are not helping you make positive choices. Those friendships are not encouraging you. You know, everybody may have grown up age-wise, but they're still acting like little kids. You don't need to do that. You need to maybe find some new friends. And that's just the reality of it. People in recovery often have to deal with this because a lot of their friends who they used to do whatever the thing they were addicted to, those friends are still in that life. And they know if they get around them, it's going to be easier for them to live that life. So what do they have to do? They have to find new friends. And sometimes that's the scariest thing for them. It scares them, but it is necessary. You can't keep hanging around the old people. So what we want to do is get into friendships with open eyes. Understand, you don't want to waste time with friendships that hurt you or push you to do something that's wrong. You want to get out of friendships that are toxic, that are hurting you. And you want to find those good friends. They're authentic, they're honest. Because good friends are worth the wait, they're worth the work. They make us better men, and they're really better for society as a whole. All right, guys, the third thing we want to talk about is some friendship tips, just some things to help you get better friends, be a better friend. And the reason I cover this is not because oh, you don't know, you're a bad guy or whatever. A lot of guys grew up with no example, no good example of a good, strong male friendship. And a lot of guys grew up without seeing that, and they've never been around that. So there's some things they want to do that they just don't know how. So that's why we're doing the tips just to help you. And you may have some good friends, but this can help you take your friendships to a better level, which will in turn make you a better man. And it's really better for the world. One of the things you want to do as a friendship tip is understand the seasonal nature of friendship. Few men have that lifelong friend. We've been buddies since kindergarten. Not a lot of guys have that friend. It's just the normal seasons of life. Maybe in kindergarten, you had a best friend. I did. His name was Scooter. And once kindergarten ended, we never really saw each other again. But in kindergarten, we were tight. Me and Scooter were buds. But then afterwards, we just kind of lost that because we grew apart. We didn't live near each other. We didn't go to the same school, whatever. So you have to understand that's normal. That's a good thing. You're going to have different seasons of friendship. And that's fine. That's not wrong. Have them. You would rather have them. And even if they're for short seasons, that's better than not having those friendships. You say, well, I want to have those friendships for the rest of my life. You can't always do that. But you don't want to not have friends just because they can't be lifelong buddies. Now, there's a few things you want to do to really have the right attitude toward friendships. You want to understand that friendships are mutually beneficial. You don't want to get an attitude that well, there's no one out there like me. I'm not going to have a good friend. No one's going to care about me. I'm unique. I'm weird. So I've just got to be lonely. Well, that's not true. Okay? It's not true. But you also don't want to have friendships that it's all about them and not you. They should be mutually beneficial. In other words, you both like being around each other. You don't want to get that attitude that, well, no one's going to accept me, so I just have to take what I can get. No, you don't have to settle for friendships that maybe aren't good for you because you think there's no one else. It's worth the wait. And it's worth just trying to find those friends that fit you, that you don't have to change to be around. Okay? Now, if you have some negative things in your life and someone is encouraging you to make positive changes, those are good friends to be around. Okay, but sometimes we kind of beat ourselves up and we think, well, no one's going to want to be around me because I'm weird. Don't do that to yourself. You want to have that friendship that's mutually beneficial to both sides. Friendships don't happen by accident. You don't fall into a friendships a lot of time. In shows and movies that happens, but in real life, they come about from you kind of going out and being a friend to other people. To sit back and wait, well, no one calls me. Well, who do you call? Who do you reach out to? Who do you say, hey, let's get together? You don't want to force friendships, but they're not going to happen if you never go anywhere and do anything. If you never connect with other people, it's just not going to happen. No one's going to knock on your door. Hey, I want to be friends with you. Okay? You've got to get out there. Now, on the other side, friendships can't be forced. Getting together takes work. But the friendship doesn't have to be forced. You don't want to hang out with a guy. Maybe y'all go out to eat. Maybe you go fishing. Maybe you go to a movie or something. I don't know. And you're just hanging out. Or you're doing a project together. Well, you don't want to turn to him right in the middle of it and go, let's be best friends for life. That's awkward. That's weird. Don't do that. Don't be desperate. Don't come on too strong. Just have fun. Just enjoy. See what happens. See how it goes. Okay? You're just looking for a friend, someone you can hang out with. Don't take it too seriously. Don't overread into it. But then on the other side, you want to build analog friendships. You want to get in together in person more than online. If you're with your online friends more than real life people, that's a problem. Because real life people, it's harder to fake in those friendships. Online, you've got a headset on, you can say, oh, I'm good. But you may not be. Where in real life, someone can call you out. So you want to do that. You want to avoid complete isolation, which it's so easy to do today. And I get it. You come home, you're tired. You can shut the door, grab some food, sit in front of the TV, watch whatever you want. If you don't have food, you can have it delivered. You can have it happen. It's not good for us to be alone all the time. We need other people. So you don't want to isolate yourself all the time. Get yourself out of the normal routine of isolation. Which means you need to be the friendship driver. Maybe you're the guy who makes the event for all the guys to get together. Plan some fun events. See who comes. See who clicks. You can start with something small. Hey, let's get together and have a barbecue contest. Let's get together and watch the game. Let's get together and have a nacho time, where we're eating nachos and watching this, that, or the other. I don't know. But you can get together with those guys and figure something out. Maybe there's a movie coming out, a good action movie that a bunch of guys would like to see. Say, hey, let's all go. We'll go to Steak and Shake and then we'll go watch the movie. Why not? Or you could even do something good. Do a service project together. Hey, there's a lady in my neighborhood. She needs her porch rebuilt. I'm going to do it on Saturday. Does anybody want to help? Go to an event together, a ball game, a Comic Con, whatever. Do something and connect other guys. And through that, you'll see which guys maybe you connect with more naturally, and y'all can go from there. That's how friendships start. Don't wait for someone else to initiate everything. Don't wait for other people to do it on. Look for guys that you have common interests with. That's a natural place to build friendship. What do you enjoy? Find other guys who enjoy the same thing. Maybe you love guns. Well, join a gun club. Go shooting at the range and you'll find other guys. Go to a gun show. You'll find people who are into the same thing you are. And it's amazing how when you have shared interests, shared friendships can come out of that. You can also look for friends in common places around. If your wife naturally has some friends, maybe their husbands, if they're married, could be friends with you. Maybe there's something you guys can connect over. That's an easy place to start. If you go to church, you can find some guys at church, some friends to hang out with. At the office, local events, charity events. There's all kinds of places out there. You just need to get out. Our society really encourages us to stay in. And the key to having good friendships is not to sit back and wait. Well, let the friends come to me. Let them find me. No, you need to get out there. You don't have to be desperate. But just be you, just be normal, be the initiator, and you'll be amazed at how quick you have a strong group of friends. All right, guys, closing out the show, let's understand that men need friends. They need male friends, and they live better lives when they have a strong group of guys they connect with. Now, wanting friends is normal, and it's good for us as men. History has shown how men have always wanted to connect. So don't run away from that. It's kind of one of those things that everybody's known throughout history until like a few minutes ago. But guys need friends. Don't fight it. Lean into it. Get some strong males friendship going. You can do it. Don't let isolation take you over. Don't become that person who does everything online. Fight for good friendships. Reject bad friendships. The choice is not, well, it's bad friendships or nothing. No, the choice is good friendships over bad friendships. You don't have to accept a bad friendship or be lonely. It's just not the way it works. You can have good friends. Now, it may take some work. It may take some time. But you can have those good friendships that help you grow and help the other person grow. So be the one to initiate. Be the one to form a friend group. Be the guy who gets other guys together and has fun together. Start doing that and you'll find a group of friends really quick, especially if it's around shared interests. So I think today we need to see a renewal of strong male friendship. Guys, we need each other. It's one of the best things we can do to be better men is to have better friends.
You've been listening to the Confident Man Podcast. Click subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. You can connect with David on Facebook and Instagram at David Maxwell. Find resources to help you as a man at theconfidentman.me. That's theconfidentman.me.